So welcome everyone to our weekly meditation, and I think we're probably about the halfway point or so, maybe just past the halfway point in Lent. And so today, the third in a mini series, fasting, giving and praying. And tonight we're looking at praying. Because, as someone has said, without praying, fasting becomes just dieting. And without praying, giving or almsgiving is just philanthropy with no deeper purpose or meaning. And to pray is to enter into dialogue with the divine, to open our hearts, to connect, and to allow ourselves to be transformed. So we're going to have that in mind and look at maybe do one or two little practices tonight. But as part of that, and as our usual preparation, let's adjust where we're sitting, get ourselves comfortable. Feel our physical connections with the floor, with the seat on which we're sitting. Maybe with our arms resting on our thighs, if that's how you're sitting. And just notice any connections. And if you find it easier closing your eyes, then do that, or just lower your gaze, or use the image if that helps. And we bring our attention to our breath and take 2 deep breaths as usual, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Conscious of that breath, conscious that it's deeper and slower and longer than our automatic breathing. And then if you can, try and make the exhalation, the out breath, make it just a little bit longer than the in breath. It might help to count, say 4 on the in breath, 5 on the out breath. And after the out-breath, just linger there in the space before you take the next in-breath. Now let's add a little bit more detail to what's going on with the breath. Noticing the movements of the body. You might sense and feel the rib cage widening as you breathe in, as the lungs fill. Just pay attention to that and be conscious of the wonder of that movement. The ribs actually moving. And then lower down, the diaphragm that goes across the body. The diaphragm being pushed gently down, and so the stomach rises on the in-breath. And then on the out-breath, the diaphragm comes back up, and the stomach lowers. All this amazing movement going on inside as you take these breaths. And this practice that we undertake, this meditation or contemplation, a mental discipline that detaches us from being addicted to our habitual way of thinking, decentralizing the mind, as we said, just as with fasting, decentralizing the body, giving, decentralizing the heart. And so this is decentralizing, or allowing us to detach from the mind which so often goes for the simplest explanation of things, often reducing items to an oversimplistic choice of two things and then going with one of them. And this contemplation as a type of prayer helps us to move beneath our thoughts and sensations to a deeper level of pure awareness. Father Richard offers one technique we might try. I've talked before about letting thoughts drift down a stream like leaves. He suggests an image of a stream with small boats moving along it, each boat representing a thought or an emotion. And as this stream flows, then with your inner awareness, you can give names to these boats. One might be my anxiety about driving later. Or another one, objections to my sister or brother. Or another, I don't do that very well. Every judgment that you let pass is one of those boats. So take time to name them and then allow them to move down the river. And as you do that, you can say, every image that comes into your mind, I don't need that. That's not me. And gradually, as we practice this, we come to realize those thoughts and feelings are not actually me. Because I can let them go. That deeper me that is observing, noticing, can allow these to float away. So maybe just pause for a moment or so, and in your imagination, in your mind's eye, imagine a stream with small boats. You could use leaves, anything that floats. and then attaching a thought or feeling as these arise, and then letting them pass on out of sight. Even if you have no thoughts or feelings particularly, you can still practice that visualizing a stream and small boats coming into sight, passing in front, and then passing out of sight. Another technique is to use a word or a phrase as a point of focus. A sacred word, perhaps, as a symbol of your intention to allow God's presence and action within. The word might not seem particularly sacred. It might be something like calm, or joy, or simply prayer. And here we simply say the word to ourselves as a way of disconnecting the mind which is otherwise engaged in thought and processing. Thomas Keating, who coined the term centering prayer, suggested praying like this for 20 minutes twice a day. Again, it's a technique of noticing when thoughts are arising and then using your word to disconnect from those thoughts and to focus, a bit like we focus on the breath, focusing instead on a word or phrase even. Very different from intercessory prayer, where we're asking for something, where we're active. And while that has its place, this quiet prayer distancing us from our mind, detaching us, does, I believe, allow us more readily to connect with the divine and to be open to the promptings of the divine. So again, just a couple of minutes, perhaps rehearsing with a particular word or phrase. And these ideas are not new. The 14th century mystic, who the author of the classic work The Cloud of Unknowing, wrote, God may be reached and held close by means of love, but by means of thought, never. Love is this author's word for that open, diffuse awareness which gradually allows another and deeper way of knowing to pervade one's entire being. Another writer we've come across, Howard Thurman, writes, "When I am still, I do not empty myself. I would rather be filled with love than have nothing within. And being still allows for this to happen. Or rather, it allows for you to notice that this has happened. Because the love is there within us, even now. Yet sometimes the waves of life rage so incessantly that it's difficult to see or feel that love." Pausing and being still enough to notice love within and around is a deeply powerful act. And I would suggest is a deeper form of prayer. So, using the image of a floating object to carry away thoughts, using a word or phrase to detach the mind, stillness to allow us the awareness of love, and finally, back to the disciplines of Lent as a means of connection, because regular contemplative practice is not an end in itself, but is for the sake of solidarity with the suffering of the world. And so we'll move to our longer silence, or let's say it is our longer period of prayer, of detaching from the mind, of being still, and of being open to the presence of love. And we'll go with a Taizé chant, "Bless the Lord my soul, and bless God's holy name. Bless the Lord my soul, who leads me into light." So we're coming out of our silence. Maybe gently stretching. Gently opening the eyes. And some closing words from a hymn which we had on Sunday, and I didn't recognize the words, but quite powerful I found. Just the first verse. Eternal God, your love's tremendous glory cascades through life in overflowing grace, to tell creation's meaning in the story of love, evolving love from time and space. Amen.